Hope you are doing well today. It's Wednesday, the 28th of July, here to do just a really quick recap of what we're looking at from yesterday, what we're seeing today on the horizons, and I guess that's really about it. I don't think I'll have any words of wisdom to share today. Let's just keep it simple, keep it on task. So let's go ahead and we will start over here. I think that's the right screen. Yeah, start over there. What are we looking at? Well, let's see what happened yesterday. So yesterday we mentioned gold and crude were both in patterns where we were off limits, right? Gold had a mixed bias yesterday. Crude had a mixed bias yesterday. The S&P was the only one that we could potentially trade because it's the only one that had a confirmed market direction coming into that morning. And we're looking for longs. Yesterday we mentioned we'd like to see the market pull back, making lower highs and lower lows. And then we would trade off the top of that previously closed lower high. We did also say, though, that if we got down and we broke below that 4375, 4370 area, that we'd have all bets off. And we see yesterday it did pull back, making lower highs and lower lows, which is a beautiful thing for us. I mean, that would normally be a great opportunity for us to trade back in the direction of that market trend. But we did ultimately break down below that 43.75. And as it did that, our indicators crossed up here on the shorter term, and we no longer had any signals to take trades. So we're out of that one for yesterday. So no opportunities, although it did rebound a little bit here towards the end of the day, coming into this new session. We're sitting here and yeah, it's an interesting place to be. We're still kind of in the middle of that range that we've been in. But do keep in mind, we've got FOMC later today, and that certainly could be a market catalyst. We may see things stay fairly range bound leading up to the FOMC statement. And so, if anything, just sit on your hands today. Probably the best opportunity really is to just stay away. Let the market find its direction following FOMC, and then come in tomorrow with a fresh set of eyes and a fresh plan, right? Crude, we're back into a long bias. So the 4-hour bias is long, 30-minute bias is flipped over to long. We are in an interesting position here. We mentioned yesterday, we're really range bound in crude. We've got tops kind of in here around this 72.30 area up here. And we've got bottom in here around 71.50. We did say yesterday, if we broke below 71.50, that'd be an opportunity to look for sell opportunities. It did break and close below 71.50, came back right to it, and then pushed back down. So certainly some opportunity there if you were looking for kind of some shorter term breakout trades that you could trade intraday. But for the BTX method, we didn't have any trading opportunities. Today, however, we are looking for long trading opportunities. So what we'd want to see is the market pull back a bit, making lower highs and lower lows, lower highs, lower lows, and then we'll play a breakout in the direction of that previously closed lower high as the market snaps back to its current trend. So just be on the lookout for that. Gold is back to a short bias now. We've got the short bias on 4-hour, and we have a short bias here on the 30-minute. As well. So gold, we're looking for shorts. What that would look like for us is what we were seeing yesterday, with the market pushing higher, making higher lows and higher highs, and then play the short as it breaks back in the direction of that market trend, which is lower. Now gold again is also in a bit of a sideways trend. If you want to call it a trend, but we've certainly been range bound for quite a bit here. We've got some. If you look shorter term, you can look right through here, and that's crude. What am I doing? Just one sec. Let me just reset this chart so we can actually get a good look at it. If you can look right through here, that 1795 you've got as a bottom. And then we talked about 1810 yesterday as a top. So, we're definitely in a short bias right now coming into the new session. certainly be interesting if we break below 1795, just as a straight breakout opportunity could certainly work in our favor. If we push up here to 1810 area, yeah, obviously our 30-minute would have flipped over, but if we can break and close above 1810, that would push gold long at that point. But for right now, we are looking at a short bias. BTX method says wait, see if we get a push up here, and then we can play the breakout back in the direction of the market trend. However, like I mentioned before, 1795, pretty key area. If we can push down, break through that, it could certainly be a good time to look at shorts there. So that is it. I think we've hit all the market stuff for the day. Do keep in mind today with FOMC coming up at 1:30 Central Time, 1:30 my time. It's the markets could certainly be fairly mixed and fairly flat. Not to say that we won't see some movement, but it could be very short-lived. Oftentimes leading up to statements, you might see larger orders that come in and consume the volume that's there, the existing pending orders that are there. They'll consume those, and it'll cause the market to bounce one way or the other quickly, and then it might float back to kind of where it was. So just keep that in mind. How the markets work. We've talked about that before. It's in the training section. How the markets work with pending orders and market orders and consumption of liquidity and what that does for causing the markets to move. So just keep all of that in mind as you have higher impact news coming up on days like this. We've also got earnings, by the way, today on a lot of your tech stuff. But anyway, what was I saying? When you've got days like this, when you've got some really high impact news coming up, it's you see less volume sometimes coming into that news event. So just keep it in mind that a lot of times the movement that we see can be this transitory volatility where it might push and then eventually float back to where it was. And you're not really going to see the true nature of the move of the market until you get through that news event. So don't try to front run it. Don't get antsy. Like we've always said, there's always another trade. Don't feel pressed to make a decision today, especially with this news event looming over us that we don't know, anything can come out of that. Hell, we've got anything to come out of COVID here pretty soon too. I'm surprised. You've got a lot of stuff happening in other countries. I'm surprised that we haven't seen some measures happen here in the US that could, really drive some ripples through the market as well. So, as always, manage your risk right, trade safe, and again, sometimes the best trade is no trade, right? So let the news, I guess my bottom line of all this today, let the news do what it's going to do. Don't feel pressed to make any decisions. If you do get a setup that meets your trading criteria here, take it, but don't try to front run it or don't try to guess what's going to happen in the news, especially as we get later in the day, closer to that news event. Let the news happen, come back in tomorrow with a fresh set of eyes, and then we'll go from there. All right, so that's it. I'll come back tomorrow. We'll see what's happening.